Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with a message that burns in my heart. It's not a message for the masses, not a message for those who merely seek comfort, but a message for the bold, the brave, and the ones who truly seek the truth. This message is not for everyone. You see, many are content to remain where they are, bound by their circumstances, blind to the opportunity that God has placed in front of them. But I want to speak directly to those who are ready to make a change, to those who know deep within themselves that there's more to life than just existence. There's something powerful about truth. It's not something you can easily ignore, pretend doesn't exist, or simply sweep under the rug. Truth is a force of nature, and it doesn't bend to our whims. It doesn't care about your preferences or your comfort zone. It stands tall, unwavering, and no matter how far we try to run from it, it follows us. It seeks us out, and when you truly encounter it, it will challenge you in ways you never imagined. This is why the call to truth is not for everyone, because not everyone is willing to face it. In the world we live in today, truth has become a commodity. We are bombarded with opinions, half-truths, and even blatant lies every single day. The truth gets diluted in the noise of social media, the haze of sensational headlines, and the personal agendas of the people around us. It's easier to ignore the truth. It's easier to just go along with the crowd, to follow the path of least resistance. After all, the truth is hard to hear, and it's even harder to live by. But here's the thing. While the truth may be uncomfortable, it's also liberating. It's the key to real freedom. Think about it. In your daily life, how often do you hear people say, "I just want to be real"? I hear it all the time, but what does it really mean to be real? Being real means being truthful, not just to others, but to yourself. It means acknowledging the tough realities of life. It means understanding that your own personal truth may not always align with the expectations of society, but still standing firm in what you know to be right. Take, for example, the story of someone who's been stuck in a dead-end job for years. They've been telling themselves, "It's fine, I'm comfortable here, I don't need anything more." But deep down, they know the truth. They're not growing, they're not passionate, they're not truly living. And for years, they ignore that whisper inside of them, telling them to take a chance, to go after something more meaningful. Why? Because facing that truth means change, and change is scary. It might mean stepping out of their comfort zone. It might mean failure. So instead of confronting the truth, they stay in their safe little bubble of mediocrity. They stay where it's easy. But they will never know the full joy of life until they confront that truth. And here's the rub. The truth doesn't care if you're comfortable. It doesn't care if it hurts your pride. It doesn't care if it messes up your plans. It will demand to be heard, and if you choose to ignore it, it will only grow louder. There's another example I want to share with you. It's a story of someone who's been living with guilt for years. They've made mistakes in the past, mistakes that haunt them every single day. They try to hide it, bury it under layers of distraction, convincing themselves that it's not a big deal, but deep down, they know the truth. They know they haven't made things right. They know they've hurt someone they love. And no matter how much they try to move on, they can't shake that truth from their conscience. But it's easier to keep pretending, right? It's easier to avoid the uncomfortable truth. But what happens? The longer you run from truth, the harder it is to outrun it. The weight of unresolved guilt and broken relationships will follow you like a shadow, and eventually it will catch up with you. There's no way around it. The truth will find a way to make itself known. That's why when you face the truth head on, you unlock freedom. You open the door to forgiveness, to healing, and to redemption. I'm telling you, living in truth isn't just about avoiding lies or deceiving others. It's about living authentically. It's about confronting the uncomfortable things in your life and having the courage to change. Truth is the foundation of everything worth having in life. Peace of mind, integrity, joy, and most importantly, purpose. When you align your life with truth, you unlock a power that's been there all along, waiting for you to tap into it. Think about people you admire. Think about the leaders, the innovators, the ones who inspire you to be better. What do they have in common? They all have one thing in common. They are rooted in truth. The truth of who they are, the truth of their purpose, and they don't let the lies of this world distract them. They don't let fear stop them from doing what they were put here to do. The call to truth is not for everyone, because facing the truth requires more than just hearing it. It requires doing something about it. It requires you to change, to grow, to step into the person you were always meant to be, even if it means going against the grain, even if it means standing alone. It requires you to let go of the lies, the excuses, the habits, and the fears that have kept you stuck. But here's the most powerful part of the truth. It doesn't just change you, it transforms everything around you. When you start living in truth, you start living with purpose. Your relationships improve because you're no longer hiding behind facades. Your work becomes meaningful because you're not just going through the motions anymore. Your life becomes a reflection of the truth inside you, and that truth will light up everything you do. So I ask you today, are you ready to face the truth? Are you ready to confront the hard realities of your life, to step out of the lies and the comfort zones that have held you back? It won't be easy, but I promise you it will be worth it. The truth is uncomfortable. It's not always the gentle, soothing thing we want it to be. It doesn't wrap itself up in a pretty package and give us the warm, fuzzy feelings we so often crave. No, the truth has a way of showing up at the most inconvenient times. It forces us to confront things we'd rather not deal with, things we'd rather forget. It challenges us to face our fears, our flaws, and our failures. But here's the thing about truth. As uncomfortable as it is, it's the only thing that will ever set you free. Let me put it to you this way. Think about the last time you had to have a difficult conversation with someone. Maybe it was with a friend, a partner, or a family member. You had to tell them something that was hard to say, something that had been weighing on your heart for a long time. Maybe it was a truth about yourself that you were afraid to admit, or maybe it was a truth about them that you were afraid to hurt them with. But as soon as you said it, as soon as you laid that truth out in the open, you could feel the weight begin to lift. It wasn't easy, it wasn't comfortable, but it was necessary, and it set you free. That's the power of truth. Now let's be real. The truth is uncomfortable because it has a way of forcing us to change. It doesn't allow us to stay stuck in our comfort zones. It doesn't let us hide behind our excuses. It pushes us to grow. And growth is uncomfortable. Think about the process of a seed turning into a tree. The seed has to break open, stretch, and push its way through the soil. It has to go through a difficult, uncomfortable process just to reach the light. But without that struggle, the seed would never grow into the tree. In our lives, we're much the same. We have to break through our own layers of comfort and complacency. We have to face the hard truths that we've been avoiding. Maybe you've been telling yourself that everything is fine, that you're okay in a situation that you know deep down isn't right for you. Maybe you've been lying to yourself about your own potential, settling for mediocrity because you're too afraid to reach for greatness. Maybe you've been stuck in a toxic relationship, convincing yourself that things will get better when you know in your heart that they won't. The truth is uncomfortable because it forces you to see things as they truly are, not as you wish they were. And that's a tough pill to swallow. But here's something I want you to understand. The truth will always be uncomfortable. It's never going to be easy to face. It's going to challenge you. It's going to push you outside your comfort zone. But in the end, it's the only thing that can truly set you on the path to living a fulfilled, authentic life. It's the only thing that will break the chains of self-deception and denial that hold you back from becoming who you were meant to be. Let me tell you about a man I once knew. He was stuck in a job that drained him every single day. He hated waking up in the morning knowing he had to go to work. but he told himself that it was the best he could do. He convinced himself that he couldn't do any better. He stayed in that job for years, putting up with the long hours, the stress, and the frustration. And every day he told himself it was okay, that he was lucky to even have a job. But deep down he knew the truth. He knew he was capable of more. He knew he had dreams, ambitions, and skills that were being wasted. But the truth was uncomfortable. It meant admitting that he wasn't living up to his potential, that he was settling for a life he wasn't meant to live. It meant facing the fear of failure, of stepping into the unknown. But when he finally confronted that uncomfortable truth, when he finally made the decision to leave that job behind and pursue his dreams, everything changed. Yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it was risky. But it was the most freeing decision he ever made. He found a new job, one that aligned with his passions, and he finally began to live the life he was meant to live. That's the power of the uncomfortable truth. It forces you to take action. It forces you to step into the unknown, to take risks, to make decisions that you might not have made if you stayed comfortable. And yes, it's going to hurt at times. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. But I promise you, the pain of staying stuck will always be greater than the pain of growing. Here's the kicker. We often avoid the truth because we're afraid of the change it requires. But the truth is, change is inevitable. The world is always changing. Life is always evolving. And if you refuse to face the truth, if you continue to hide from it, you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction, regret, and unfulfilled potential. You'll look back on your life and wonder, what could I have been? What could I have accomplished? And that is a pain far worse than the discomfort of facing the truth. The uncomfortable truth is the catalyst for growth. It's the fire that refines you, that purifies you, that makes you stronger. Without it, you would stay stagnant, forever stuck in a cycle of mediocrity. So yes, the truth is uncomfortable, but it's the only way forward. It's the only way to become the person you were always meant to be. So I ask you, what truth are you avoiding? What uncomfortable truth is waiting for you to face it? Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let discomfort keep you from your potential. Embrace the discomfort. Step into the truth, because on the other side of that discomfort, you will find a freedom and a power that you've never known before. And that, my friend, is worth every bit of the discomfort. The power of choice is one of the most incredible gifts we've been given in life, and yet it's often the one we take for granted. Every single day, we are presented with a multitude of choices. Some are small, like choosing what to eat for breakfast, but others are far more significant. Choices that shape the direction of our lives, that determine who we become and what we accomplish. The choices we make today will echo through our lives, affecting not just ourselves, but the people around us and even the world at large. And here's the most powerful thing about choice. No one can take it away from you. It's yours and yours alone. Every decision you make is a reflection of the power you have within you. You may not always feel like you have control over the circumstances in your life, but I can promise you this. You have control over how you respond to those circumstances. You have control over what you do next. And that, my friend, is where your power lies. Life will throw all sorts of challenges and obstacles your way. There will be moments of pain, heartbreak, and failure, but it's not those things that define you. It's the choices you make in those moments. Take a moment and think about a time when you faced a tough situation, something that knocked you down. Maybe you lost a job, went through a breakup, or faced a personal failure. How did you respond? What choices did you make in the aftermath? Did you let the situation control you, or did you take control of the situation? Because here's the truth. In every challenge, in every setback, you have the power to choose how you will respond. Will you choose to stay down, to wallow in self-pity and regret, or will you choose to rise? Will you choose to see the lesson in the struggle, to take responsibility for your life and move forward with purpose? That's the power of choice. Think about someone you admire. Maybe it's a successful entrepreneur, a great athlete, or even a person who's overcome incredible odds. What makes them stand out? Is it that they've never faced challenges or struggles? No. It's that they've made powerful choices in the face of adversity. They've chosen to persevere when everyone else would have given up. They've chosen to take risks when the safer option would have been to stay comfortable. They've chosen to get back up after falling down. These are the moments that define them, the moments where their power of choice shined through. There's a story I love to tell about a man named Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb. It's said that when Edison was working on his invention, he encountered failure after failure, thousands of attempts, thousands of mistakes, and yet he never gave up. One day, after one particularly grueling failure, a young reporter asked him, "How does it feel to fail so many times?" Edison looked him square in the eye and said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's choice wasn't to give up. His choice was to keep going, to keep learning, to keep trying. And that single choice, over and over again, led to one of the greatest inventions in history. This is what it means to harness the power of choice. It's about deciding, no matter how many times you fail, that you will keep going. It's about choosing to see setbacks as stepping stones, not roadblocks. It's about choosing to believe that every failure is simply a lesson in disguise, a lesson that will eventually lead you to your success. Another example is the story of a woman I know personally, someone who for years struggled with addiction. She was caught in the vicious cycle of substance abuse, and no matter how many times she promised herself she'd quit, she found herself right back in the same place. She could have easily given up on herself, could have easily accepted that this was her life, that she was never going to break free, but one day she made a choice. She chose to get help. She chose to seek treatment. She chose to fight for her life. And every day since that choice, she's been winning. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't a quick fix, but that choice, the decision to take control of her life, has changed everything for her. She is now living a life she never thought possible, and it all started with that one moment, that one decision to choose something different. You see, the power of choice isn't about always making the right decision. It's about making decisions that move you forward, that help you grow. It's about taking ownership of your actions, of your future. And it's about understanding that you have the power to change your life at any moment simply by making a new choice. Every day is a new opportunity to choose differently, to choose more wisely, to choose the path that will lead you to the life you've always dreamed of. Now, I want you to think about your own life. What choices have you made that have brought you to this moment? Have you been making choices that align with your true desires, with the person you want to become? Or have you been letting fear, doubt, or complacency make the choices for you? The power of choice is within you. You get to decide how you live. You get to decide how you show up in the world. You may not be able to control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react. You can control the choices you make in those moments, and those choices will ultimately determine your destiny. Will you choose to stay stuck, or will you choose to grow? Will you choose to keep playing it safe, or will you choose to take risks and step into the unknown? Will you choose to let your past define you, or will you choose to let your future inspire you? A call to action is more than just words. It's a powerful invitation to step into your purpose, to take hold of the dreams you've been putting off, and to begin making the changes you've been waiting for. A call to action is a wake-up call. It's that inner voice that tells you now is the time. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today, right now. It's the moment when everything you've been dreaming of can begin to take shape. But it requires something from you. It requires you to take that first step, to put aside the doubts, to stop making excuses, and to begin the journey toward the life you've always imagined. We live in a world that is filled with distractions, with noise, with a million things pulling at our attention. It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, to go through the motions and to wait for the perfect moment to act. But I'm here to tell you something. There is no perfect moment. If you keep waiting for everything to align, for the stars to line up in just the right way, you will be waiting forever. The time is now. The call to action is here, and if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Look at anyone who has accomplished anything significant in life. I'm talking about the people who have made history, the ones who have left a lasting impact on the world. What do they all have in common? They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They didn't sit around and hope things would fall into place. They heard the call to action and they responded. They decided to take action in the face of uncertainty, in the face of fear, and in the face of obstacles that seemed insurmountable. They didn't wait for things to be easy. They chose to act, even when the road ahead was unclear. Take a look at someone like Oprah Winfrey. She started her career with a difficult upbringing, faced rejection after rejection, and struggled to find her footing in a male-dominated industry. She could have easily quit when the road was tough, when the odds were stacked against her, but she didn't. She answered the call to action, not when everything was perfect, but when everything seemed impossible. She chose to step out, to trust herself, and to keep moving forward. And now her name is synonymous with empowerment, with change, and with hope. Oprah made the decision to act, to not let her circumstances define her. She made a choice, and that choice led her to become one of the most influential people in the world. Look at Thomas Edison again. People love to talk about his success, but do you know how many times he failed before inventing the light bulb? Thousands of failures, thousands of setbacks, and yet he never stopped. Edison didn't wait for the perfect moment to strike. He didn't wait until everything lined up perfectly for him to act. He just kept going, he kept experimenting, kept trying, and when asked how it felt to fail, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is the heart of action. A commitment to keep moving no matter the obstacles. But this isn't just about famous names and historical figures. This is about you. This is about your life. Right now, there's something you've been putting off, something you've been waiting for the right time to do. Maybe you've been dreaming of starting your own business, writing a book, getting fit, or pursuing a new career. Maybe you've been wanting to have that difficult conversation with someone you love. Or maybe you've been wanting to break free from a toxic relationship. Whatever it is, you know deep down that it's time to act. You've been given the tools, the resources, and the opportunities you need, but you have to take that first step. Think about someone you know who is always talking about their dreams, but never seems to make any progress toward them. Maybe they've been talking about starting a new project or pursuing a passion for years, but they've never actually taken any real action. Why? Because they're waiting for the perfect time, or they're afraid of failing. They're stuck in a cycle of inaction, of waiting for something outside of themselves to change before they make their move. But here's the thing, the perfect time will never come. The fear will always be there. The doubts will always be there, but action, real, bold action, turns fear into fuel and doubts into determination. The call to action isn't a one-time thing. It's not a moment that happens just once and then fades away. It's a constant reminder that every single day is an opportunity to act, to take steps toward the life you want. Each day is a chance to make progress, to break through the barriers that hold you back, and to get closer to your goals. But you have to be willing to take that first step, to put yourself out there, to take a risk. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine looking back on your life in 5, 10, or 20 years and asking yourself, what would have happened if I had acted sooner? How would your life look different today if you had made that decision to go after your dreams? What if you had started that business or moved to that new city or taken that risk? Imagine the regret of knowing that you let fear hold you back from the life you truly wanted. Is that the life you want to look back on? But now, think about what your life could look like if you act today, if you answer the call right now and make that decision to go after your goals, to take that first step toward change. Your life could be completely different, and it doesn't matter how big or small that first step is. What matters is that you take it, because every small action adds up. Every little step, every decision, every effort you put in brings you closer to the person you were meant to become. It's time to stop waiting. It's time to stop making excuses. The world needs you to step up, to answer the call, to make your move. Your dreams are waiting for you, but you have to act to bring them to life. Every moment you wait is a moment you lose. So what are you waiting for? The narrow path is often seen as the more difficult, less traveled road. It's not the easy route, the one where everyone seems to be walking, where the crowds are and where the comfort lies. No, the narrow path is the one that's hidden behind obstacles, the one that forces you to step outside your comfort zone, to face challenges head on, to make hard choices that others may not understand. It's the path that requires strength, resilience, and perseverance. And while it may be more difficult, it's also the path that leads to the greatest rewards, the path that brings you to a place where you can truly be who you were meant to be. You've probably heard it said that the road to success is not easy, and this is true. But what's often left out is that success isn't just about achieving a goal or reaching a destination. Success is about the journey, and the narrow path is where that journey happens. It's the path that separates the dreamers from the doers, the people who are willing to put in the work from the people who are content to sit back and wait for things to happen. It's the path that demands that you push through the pain, the doubt, and the fear. It's the path that calls you to rise above the noise of the world, to stay focused on your mission, and to keep moving forward even when things get tough. But here's the thing about the narrow path. It's not meant for everyone. It's meant for those who are willing to sacrifice the temporary comforts of life for something greater, for something more meaningful. It's for those who understand that true fulfillment doesn't come from taking the easy way out, but from persevering through the hardships, learning from the struggles, and ultimately achieving something that is worth the effort. It's for those who are ready to make the hard choices, the ones that will set them apart from the crowd, the ones that will make them different. Take a moment to think about the people you admire the most. Chances are they've taken the narrow path in some form. Think about someone like Steve Jobs. He didn't take the easy route. He didn't follow the traditional path to success. He took risks, made bold decisions, and defied the conventional wisdom of his time. He chose to walk the narrow path, to push the limits of what was possible, and to create something that would change the world. And that wasn't easy. It wasn't smooth sailing. But because he chose the narrow path, because he was willing to make the tough choices and stay true to his vision, he left a legacy that continues to inspire millions of people today. Or take a look at the lives of athletes who rise to the top of their field. Whether it's basketball, tennis, swimming, or any other sport, these athletes don't get to the top by taking the easy road. They choose the narrow path, a path of constant training, of sacrifice, of discipline. They face rejection, setbacks, and failure. But they don't quit. They keep going because they know that greatness lies on the other side of those challenges. And when they finally achieve success, it's not just the gold medals or the championships that matter. It's the journey, the struggle, the narrow path they've walked to get there. Now think about your own life. What path are you walking right now? Are you taking the easy road, the one that everyone else is following? The one that promises comfort and instant gratification but leads to nowhere? Or are you choosing the narrow path? The one that demands more from you, the one that forces you to dig deep, to keep going when you feel like quitting, to rise above the challenges and stay focused on your goals. The narrow path isn't just about achieving success, it's about growing into the person you were always meant to be. It's about building character, developing resilience, and learning to trust yourself. The easy path doesn't teach you these things. The easy path lets you stay in your comfort zone, lets you avoid the hard work, lets you escape from the discomfort. But the narrow path requires you to confront your fears, to face the things that scare you, and to push through the obstacles that would otherwise stop you. It's on that path that you discover your true strength, your true potential. Take a moment to consider a time in your life when you had to make a difficult decision, when you had to choose the harder path. Maybe it was a time when you had to make a career change, even though it meant stepping into the unknown. Maybe it was a time when you had to end a relationship that wasn't serving you, even though it was painful. Maybe it was a time when you had to stand up for yourself, to speak your truth, even though it was easier to stay silent. Whatever the situation, you chose the narrow path. You chose the path that required courage, resilience, and the willingness to face discomfort. And though it wasn't easy, you came out stronger on the other side. This is what the narrow path does for you. It forces you to grow. It stretches you beyond your limits. It challenges you to dig deep and discover what you're truly capable of. And yes, it can be uncomfortable. Yes, it can be tough. But I promise you it's worth it. Because at the end of the narrow path, you find a version of yourself that you never would have become if you had stayed on the easy road. You find a person who is stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever imagined. And that person, your best, most authentic self, is the one who will achieve the success, the fulfillment, and the joy you've been searching for. So when you're faced with a decision, when you're faced with a choice of which path to take, ask yourself, which one will push me to grow? Which one will help me become the person I'm meant to be? The easy road may seem tempting, but it's the narrow path that will lead you to greatness. It's the path that will take you to the life you've always dreamed of, and it's the one that will give you the strength to handle anything that comes your way. The narrow path is where the magic happens. It's where you become who you were always meant to be. Faith is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It's not just a religious concept. It's a universal truth that touches every aspect of our lives. Faith is the invisible force that moves mountains, that drives us to keep going when the path seems impossible, that pushes us to believe in the unseen even when everything around us tells us to give up. Faith is the anchor that holds us steady in the storm, the light that guides us when the road ahead is dark, and the spark that ignites the fire of our dreams. But what exactly is faith? It's the belief in something greater than ourselves, the trust that the universe has a plan for us, the confidence that even in our lowest moments we are not alone. The power of faith is not in its grand gestures or in the big dramatic moments. No, it's in the small, everyday choices we make to believe, to trust, to keep moving forward, even when we can't see the entire picture. It's in those quiet moments when doubt tries to creep in and we choose to push through it, choosing belief over fear. It's in those moments when everything seems impossible and yet we decide to take that next step, trusting that something greater is working behind the scene. Let's take a look at a daily life example. Think about a time when you've faced a challenge, a time when you didn't know how things were going to work out, but you decided to hold on to faith. Maybe you were facing a job loss and you didn't know how you were going to pay the bills or take care of your family. Or perhaps you were dealing with a health crisis and you weren't sure if you'd make it through. In those moments, it's easy to let fear take over. It's easy to think that the world is against you and that there's no way out. But in those moments, if you choose to have faith, something powerful happens. It's not about knowing all the answers or having everything figured out. It's about trusting that things will work out in the end. This is the power of faith. It's the belief that even in the darkest hour, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's the belief that even when everything is falling apart, something good is being worked out for you. There's a story that comes to mind about a woman named Sarah who went through one of the most difficult times of her life. She was a single mother working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Her life was a constant struggle, and every day felt like a battle. One day, she received news that her health was deteriorating. Doctors said she needed a serious surgery, and without it, her life could be in danger. It was a terrifying moment for her. But instead of giving in to fear and despair, she chose to have faith. She chose to trust that even in the face of uncertainty, she was not alone. She reached out to her community, found the support she needed, and walked into that surgery room with faith in her heart. She didn't know what the outcome would be, but she believed that no matter what, she would be okay. And against all odds, she came through the surgery stronger than ever. Her story is a powerful reminder of the power of faith. It wasn't her strength that got her through, it was her belief. It was the unwavering faith that no matter how impossible things seemed, something was working for her, not against her. Faith is the force that keeps us moving forward even when we can't see the way ahead. It's the belief that there is a greater purpose, that everything happens for a reason, and that even the most difficult challenges have something valuable to teach us. But faith is not just about believing in something external, it's also about believing in yourself. Faith is the trust you have in your own abilities, in your own strength, and in your own potential. It's about trusting that you have everything you need within you to overcome whatever life throws at you. How often do we doubt ourselves? How often do we let fear and insecurity hold us back from reaching our full potential? Faith is about quieting those voices of doubt and replacing them with the unwavering belief that you are capable of achieving great things. Think about someone who has achieved extraordinary success. Take someone like J.K. Rowling, who faced rejection after rejection when trying to get her first Harry Potter book published. She was living in poverty, a single mother with no job, no income, and no clear future. She could have easily given up, but instead she chose to have faith. She believed in her story, in her message, and in herself. She kept going, even when everyone around her said it would never work, and today she is one of the most successful authors in the world. Her story is a testament to the power of faith in one's own abilities. Faith is also about resilience, the ability to keep going when things are tough. Life is not always easy. There will be times when things don't go the way we planned, when we face rejection, failure, and hardship. But it's in those moments that faith becomes the most important. Faith is what allows us to rise from the ashes, to get back up when we fall, and to keep moving forward when we want to give up. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, the great inventor. He failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb, but every time he faced failure, he didn't see it as the end. He saw it as part of the process. He had faith in the process, faith that each failure was getting him one step closer to success. And it was that unwavering belief in the future that allowed him to keep going, to keep experimenting, and ultimately to change the world. Faith is about seeing possibilities where others see problems. It's about believing in the best outcome even when everything around you suggests otherwise. It's about knowing that no matter how difficult the situation, there is always something to learn, always something to gain, and always something to be thankful for. The power of faith is not just in what it can do for you, but in how it can change the way you view the world. When you live with faith, you see opportunities instead of obstacles. You see hope instead of despair. And you see the potential for growth and transformation in every experience. Faith isn't just for the big life-changing moments. It's for the small, everyday choices we make. It's for those moments when we don't know how things will turn out but choose to believe anyway. It's in every step we take, every decision we make, and every action we take in the face of fear or doubt. Faith is the quiet strength that keeps us moving, the belief that keeps us going, and the trust that leads us to the life we were always meant to live. Living a legacy is not about what you leave behind in terms of material wealth or tangible achievements. It's about the impact you have on the lives of others, the lessons you impart, and the way you inspire those who come after you. It's about the footprint you leave on the world, not in the form of possessions, but through your character, your actions, and the values you live by. Every single day you have the opportunity to live a life that will echo far beyond your time on this earth. The truth is, we are all writing our legacies right now in the choices we make, the relationships we build, and the way we live out our purpose. A legacy isn't built overnight. It's not something that's handed to you. It's something you create step by step through every action, every decision, and every moment of your life. When we think of someone like Martin Luther King Jr., we think of the incredible impact he had on the world. His legacy wasn't just in his famous speeches or his leadership in the civil rights movement. It was in the way he lived his life, his commitment to justice, to nonviolence, and to equality. His legacy was built on his daily choices to stand for something greater than himself, to fight for what was right, even when the road ahead seemed impossible. But here's the thing, His legacy didn't begin with one grand speech or a monumental moment. It began with small acts of courage, with his daily commitment to his values, with his willingness to take a stand for what he believed in, even when no one else was watching. The legacy he created wasn't just the result of one defining moment. It was the sum of a lifetime of decisions, of actions, of unwavering faith in his mission. And this is true for each one of us. Our legacies are not defined by the big moments alone. They're built through the choices we make every single day. When you show up for your family, when you give everything you have to your work, when you choose kindness and integrity in the face of adversity, you are building your legacy. Think about the people in your life who have had the greatest impact on you. It's likely they didn't leave you with material wealth or even famous accomplishments. Instead, they left you with wisdom, with lessons, with memories of how they made you feel, how they loved, how they sacrificed, and how they cared. Take a moment and think about the legacy of your parents, your grandparents, or a mentor you've had. What was it that really stayed with you? Was it the things they owned or the places they went? Or was it the way they treated others, the values they held, and the love they gave freely? More than likely, it was the latter. Their legacy lives on in your heart and in the way you choose to live your life today. I know a man named James who ran a small construction business. On the surface, he may have seemed like any other entrepreneur trying to make a living. He wasn't famous, he didn't have wealth, and his name wasn't in lights. But what he did have was a powerful legacy that touched everyone he met. James wasn't just focused on making money, he was committed to building more than just houses. He was building lives. His business wasn't just about completing projects, it was about caring for his workers, treating them with respect, and providing opportunities for them to grow and succeed. James took the time to mentor young people, teaching them not only how to work hard, but also how to be responsible, to be honest, and to value relationships above profits. The legacy he built wasn't in his buildings, it was in the lives he changed. Even years after he retired, his former workers would often return to thank him for the lessons he taught them, the integrity he instilled in them, and the way he made them feel valued. James understood something that many people miss, that legacy is not about what you achieve for yourself, but about what you give to others. It's about the difference you make in the lives of those around you. He didn't need to be a world-renowned figure to create a powerful legacy. He understood that the way you treat people, the way you inspire them, and the way you live with purpose is what creates an impact that endures. But how do you live a legacy? How do you make sure that the way you live today has lasting significance? It starts with knowing what matters to you. Your legacy is built on your values. What do you stand for? What principles do you hold dear? If you don't know what you value, how can you create a legacy based on those values? It's not enough to go through life letting the current pull you wherever it may. You must take control, decide what matters, and live according to those values. Whether it's kindness, honesty, hard work, or love, these are the building blocks of your legacy. Living a legacy also means being intentional. It's about making decisions with the knowledge that every choice, every word, and every action contributes to the story you are telling with your life. It's about looking beyond the immediate gratification of today and focusing on the long-term impact of your decisions. You may never know the full extent of your impact on others, but every time you choose to be a person of integrity, every time you give to someone without expecting anything in return, every time you choose kindness over anger, you are adding to the legacy you're creating. Think about the little things. It's easy to think that creating a legacy requires monumental achievements or big dramatic actions, but in reality, it's the small things that matter most. When you help a neighbor, when you support a friend in need, when you encourage a colleague who's struggling, you're building a legacy of compassion, generosity, and love. These are the things that people remember. These are the things that stay with people long after you're gone. Legacy is also about resilience. The road to creating a meaningful life, to leaving a powerful legacy, is not always easy. There will be struggles, setbacks, and hardships along the way. But the way you respond to these challenges will define your legacy. Do you give up when things get tough? Or do you keep moving forward, fighting for what you believe in, and standing firm in your values? The people who leave lasting legacies are not the ones who never face adversity. They are the ones who rise above it, who continue to show up and do the right thing even when it's hard. The power of living a legacy is that it transcends time. The impact you have on the world, the way you touch the lives of others, lives on long after you're gone. Just as you've been influenced by the people in your life, your actions will influence those who come after you. And in that way, your legacy continues to grow, to evolve, and to inspire for generations to come. So ask yourself today, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? What kind of impact do you want to make? The choice is yours. Every moment is an opportunity to build something that will outlast you, something that will inspire, teach, and love long after you've gone. Make it count. The concept of eternal impact is one of the most powerful forces we can tap into as human beings. It's the idea that our actions, our words, and the way we live today can transcend time and space, leaving a mark that lasts far beyond our lifetimes. It's not just about what we can achieve in the here and now. It's about planting seeds that will grow, multiply, and continue to affect generations long after we're gone. The question is, how do we live a life that leaves an eternal impact? How do we ensure that our time here is not just a blip on the radar of history, but a beacon of change, hope, and inspiration that carries forward? Think about the people who have had the most profound influence on you. Who are the individuals that you look up to, whose lives have shaped who you are today? Chances are they didn't create their impact through flashy achievements or massive accolades. They made an eternal impact through the way they lived their lives, the values they embodied, and the love they shared with others. Their impact wasn't temporary, it was eternal, because it reached deep into your soul, touched your heart, and forever changed the way you think, the way you act, and the way you live. I think about my own life, the people who have come and gone but whose influence is still with me. My grandmother, for example, who didn't have riches or a long list of accomplishments, but whose presence in my life created an impact that has lasted far beyond her years. She taught me lessons not through lectures, but through the way she lived. She showed me how to love without expecting anything in return, how to serve others without complaint, and how to always find joy even in the most challenging circumstance. My grandmother's impact wasn't something you could measure in dollars or titles. It was something far deeper, something that resonates in the core of my being. To this day, I carry her lessons with me, and I try to pass them on to others. This is what it means to create an eternal impact. To live in such a way that your actions, your kindness, and your beliefs ripple outward, touching countless lives in ways you may never fully understand. This impact is not about fame or recognition, but something much more profound, the way your presence and your values shape the world around you. It's about creating a legacy of love, kindness, resilience, and integrity that can never be taken away, even after you've left this earth. Take a moment to think about the everyday actions that create eternal impact. We often think that to make a difference, we have to do something grand, something monumental, but in reality, it's the small moments that have the most profound and lasting effects. The way you speak to your children, the way you treat your co-workers, the way you show up for your friends when they need you. These are the actions that ripple out into the world, creating waves of impact that spread far beyond what you can see. There's a powerful story about a teacher who had an impact on a student's life that would last far beyond the classroom. This teacher, Mr. Thompson, was a middle school educator who wasn't particularly famous or well known outside of his school. But one day he noticed that one of his students, a quiet boy named Johnny, seemed disconnected, struggling to fit in, and his grades were slipping. Most teachers would have written him off, but Mr. Thompson took a different approach. He reached out to Johnny, took extra time to understand him, and showed him that he mattered. Over time, Johnny's confidence grew, his grades improved, and he started to believe in himself. Years later, Johnny, now an adult, stood in front of a group of people at a charity event he was hosting. He shared the story of how Mr. Thompson's belief in him had changed his life. Johnny went on to become a successful entrepreneur, but the foundation of his success was built on that one teacher's decision to make a lasting impact, no matter how small it seemed at the time. Mr. Thompson may never have known the extent of his influence, but his willingness to invest in one student's life created an eternal impact that changed generations to come. Johnny's success wasn't just his own. It was the result of Mr. Thompson's decision to take the time to show kindness and to make a difference in a young boy's life. This is the power of eternal impact. It's the small acts of love, encouragement, and belief that we give to others, often without even realizing their significance. We may never fully understand the scope of our influence, but every choice we make, every moment we invest in others is part of something bigger than ourselves. It's a ripple effect that extends far beyond what we can see, touching lives in ways we will never fully comprehend. Eternal impact also involves staying true to our principles, our beliefs, and our values, even when it's not easy. It's about doing what is right, even when no one is looking, and making decisions that align with our deepest values. When you choose to live a life of integrity, to stand up for what is just, and to be a voice for the voiceless, you are creating a legacy that will resonate long after you're gone. Your actions become the foundation for others to follow, inspiring them to live with courage, conviction, and purpose. Consider the example of Rosa Parks, a woman who, through one single act of defiance, created an eternal impact on the world. By refusing to give up her seat on a segregated bus, she ignited a movement that would change the course of history. Parks didn't know in that moment how far-reaching her impact would be, but her decision to stand firm in her beliefs sparked a fire that would inspire generations of people to fight for justice and equality. That single act of courage, one that seemed small at the time, became a catalyst for change that continues to resonate today. Living with the intention of creating an eternal impact doesn't mean that you have to do something extraordinary or world-changing every day. What it means is choosing to show up with purpose and integrity, to live with intention, and to make each moment count. It's about showing love, offering kindness, and making the world a better place, one small action at a time. Every time you encourage someone, lend a hand, or speak up for what's right, you are creating an eternal impact. Every time you take a stand for your beliefs and show others the power of kindness, you are leaving a legacy that will never fade. The beautiful part about eternal impact is that it transcends our time on earth. Even when we're no longer here, the love we gave, the lives we touched, and the values we instilled will continue to shape the world. The impact you make today will reverberate into the future, affecting people you may never meet and creating a world that is forever changed because of you. You don't have to be famous to create an eternal impact. You just have to live with purpose, with love, and with the understanding that every moment matters. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to remember one simple truth. Your life is not a fleeting moment. The impact you can have is not measured by the things you possess or the titles you achieve, but by the difference you make in the lives of others. You have the power to leave a legacy that resonates across generations, a legacy that will echo long after you've taken your final breath. Every single day you wake up is another opportunity to create that impact. It's in the choices you make, the words you speak, and the actions you take. It's in the way you treat people, whether you're in the spotlight or standing in the shadows. We live in a world that often tells us that success is about accumulation, about building wealth, about achieving fame. But true success is not about how much you collect, it's about how much you give. Success is not about what you have, it's about who you become. Think about the giants whose names are etched in history, the ones who have left a lasting imprint on the world. People like Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, they didn't build their legacies through wealth or accolades. They built them by living with purpose, by standing up for others, by giving everything they had to something greater than themselves. They understood that true greatness lies not in what you receive, but in what you give away. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others, Gandhi once said. When you live to serve, you live to leave a legacy. As we go through life, we must all answer the question, what will our legacy be? The legacy we leave is not decided in our last breath, but in the everyday moments. It's in the little things, the way you speak to your child, the way you treat your spouse, the way you encourage a friend. It's in the kindness you show to a stranger, the strength you give to someone who feels weak, the hope you provide to someone who has lost it. You never know the difference one act of kindness can make in someone's life, and that's the power of leaving a legacy. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall, as Nelson Mandela once said. You see, the people who leave a legacy aren't the ones who never face hardship. They are the ones who keep going in the face of it. They are the ones who choose to rise even when life knocks them down. Your challenges, your failures, and your setbacks, they don't define you. They refine you. They shape you into the person who is capable of leaving an eternal impact. You are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you respond. When you keep going, when you choose to rise after every fall, you inspire others to do the same. That is how legacies are made. Every moment is an opportunity to make a difference. Every decision you make, whether big or small, ripples out into the world and affects the lives of those around you. The impact you have may not always be immediately visible, but make no mistake, it's there. What you do today has the power to shape tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Life doesn't wait for us to be ready. It moves, and it demands that we move with it. The time to act is now. The time to live with purpose is today. Let me leave you with this thought from the great Jim Rohn, who once said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." The path to leaving a legacy is not an easy one. It requires resilience, dedication, and unwavering belief in yourself. It requires you to push through your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. But know this, the world needs you. The world needs the gifts, the talents, and the love that only you can provide. The impact you are meant to make is yours to create. So, what will you do with the life you've been given? Will you sit on the sidelines waiting for something to happen? Or will you step into the arena, ready to make a difference, ready to leave your mark? Your legacy is not a distant dream. It's happening right now. It's happening in the choices you make every single day. The power to make an eternal impact is in your hands. You are capable of greatness. Go forward with purpose. Live every day with intention. Love with all your heart. Serve with all your strength. And know that when you do, you are creating a legacy that will last forever.